Comedian Cat Williams famously declared that 2024 would be the year when secrets come to light. And so far, the scandals rocking religious institutions prove him right. Among these shocking revelations, the Daystar television network scandal has dominated headlines, shaking one of the most prominent Christian broadcasting empires to its core. Daystar TV, a network once celebrated for its global reach and faith-based content, is now embroiled in a deeply personal and public controversy. At the center of the storm are Jonathan and Susie Lamb, former hosts and members of the Daystar dynasty. The couple came forward with devastating allegations. Their young daughter was sexually assaulted by a family member working at the network. Even more damning, they claim that Joni Lamb, the president of Daystar, and Jonathan's own mother urged them to keep the incident quiet to avoid tarnishing the network's reputation. This wasn't just a case of a family imploding. It was a litmus test for how religious institutions handle abuse allegations within their own ranks. Critics have pointed out that the Lamb family's struggle reflects a larger issue in religious organizations, a tendency to prioritize image and power over justice and accountability. When news of the scandal broke, it sparked widespread outrage. Daystar viewers and critics alike demanded answers. Social media erupted with calls for transparency, with many expressing support for Jonathan and Susie Lamb's decision to go public. Others question the moral integrity of a network that preaches family values while allegedly covering up such a grave incident. Daystar's credibility is now hanging by a thread. Its vast audience, built on trust and faith, is questioning whether the organization truly upholds the Christian values it espouses. Additionally, the case is still under police investigation with no charges filed yet. The potential legal fallout could further damage the network, both financially and reputationally. The Daystar scandal isn't just about one family's tragedy. It's a spotlight on the dangerous intersection of power, faith, and silence. How Daystar handles this crisis will set a precedent for other faith-based organizations facing similar accusations. Will they prioritize justice for victims, or will they follow the well-worn path of denial and cover-up? As we delve into the other scandals of 2024, one thing is clear. The year of exposure is demanding accountability like never before. Gateway Church scandal, a fallen leader and broken trust. As the year of exposure continues, another major faith institution, Texas's Gateway Church, has found itself under a harsh spotlight. Known for its massive congregations and influential reach, Gateway was rocked by a scandal involving its founder and lead pastor, Robert Morris, who resigned after admitting to inappropriate sexual behavior with a young girl decades ago. This revelation has sent shockwaves through one of America's most prominent evangelical megachurches, exposing deep flaws in its leadership. Robert Morris, a charismatic leader who built Gateway Church into a mega-church empire, was revered for his preaching and outreach, but beneath his polished sermons and public persona lay a disturbing secret: allegations of sexual misconduct dating back to the 1980s. Morris admitted to his past actions, prompting an internal investigation that revealed the complicity of some church elders who were aware of the allegations but chose to remain silent. This silence wasn't just a betrayal of the congregation's trust, it was a failure to protect vulnerable individuals. The church's leadership crisis has sparked outrage among members, many of whom are questioning how such a revered institution could harbor this level of misconduct for so long. For Gateway Church members, the news felt like a gut punch. "We've been taught to hold our leaders to a higher standard," one congregant shared in a local interview. "This isn't just about one man's sin, it's about a system that allowed it to fester." Social media lit up with mixed reactions, ranging from anger to heartbreak. Some defended Morris, citing his past contributions to the church, while others expressed disappointment in the leadership's failure to act decisively when the allegations first came to light. The fallout has been swift. Along with Morris's resignation, several elders implicated in the cover-up have also stepped down. The church has vowed to implement stricter policies for handling allegations of misconduct, including hiring an independent safeguarding consultant. But the road to redemption won't be easy. Gateway's reputation as a trusted spiritual haven is severely tarnished. Financial donations have reportedly declined, and attendance has dropped as members grapple with the church's broken promises. The Gateway Church scandal isn't just a story of personal failure. It's a wake-up call for religious institutions everywhere. It raises urgent questions about power dynamics in megachurches and the systems that enable leaders to evade accountability. As we move on to the next scandal, the Gateway saga serves as a reminder that no institution, no matter how influential or revered, is immune to the consequences of its actions. Up next, the disturbing revelations from the 2x2s movement. Stay tuned.
You say the 2x2 church has a sex abuse problem.
I'm a victim of it.
Is the 2x2 church a breeding ground for pedophiles?
It is the perfect environment for pedophiles.
The year of exposure continued to unravel with the shocking revelations from the Christian sect known as the 2x2s, or the Truth. Once seen as an insular and devout group, this movement is now at the center of a sprawling abuse scandal spanning decades and continents. Allegations of child sexual abuse by its ministers have come to light, shaking the faith of its members and exposing a systemic pattern of silence and cover-ups. And this is no isolated incident. Reports of abuse have surfaced from multiple countries, including the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. One of the most egregious cases involves William Stephen Easton, a former minister in New Zealand, who pleaded guilty to 55 child sex abuse charges. His victims ranged in age and endured years of suffering, often silenced by the sect's authoritarian culture. In the United States, the FBI launched an investigation into similar allegations, while Australian and New Zealand authorities also pursued legal action. The revelations point to a global crisis within the sect where leaders have reportedly used their positions of spiritual authority to exploit vulnerable members. And the 2x2s movement, known for its secretive nature and rejection of formal church structures, fostered an environment where abuse could thrive unchecked. Victims have described a culture where questioning authority was not just discouraged, it was seen as a betrayal of faith. Many survivors have come forward to reveal how their accusations were ignored or dismissed by church leaders who prioritized protecting the sect's reputation over seeking justice. One victim summed it up. They told me it would bring shame to the church if I spoke up. But what about the shame of what was done to me? Facing mounting legal and public pressure, leaders of the 2x2s have attempted to address the crisis. In Australasia, the group launched a website acknowledging historical abuse and issued a public apology. While this step has been seen as progress, critics argue it's too little, too late. Many believe the sect's hierarchical and secretive structure is fundamentally incompatible with accountability. The 2x2 scandal has prompted a broader conversation about abuse within isolated religious communities. Survivors, advocates, and former members are calling for widespread reform, including independent oversight and better protections for vulnerable members. Some governments have proposed stricter regulations for unregistered religious groups to prevent similar abuses in the future. The 2x2 saga is a harrowing reminder of what happens when power goes unchecked in religious settings. It's not just a story of individual wrongdoing, it's about the systemic failure of a faith community to protect its most vulnerable members. As the fallout continues, the movement faces an existential crisis. Can it rebuild trust and adapt to a world demanding transparency, or will it crumble under the weight of its own secrets? In 2024, Brooklyn's Catholic community was rocked by revelations of financial misconduct that exposed serious ethical failings in a revered parish. At the center of the scandal was Monsignor Jamie Giantatello, a high-profile priest once celebrated for his leadership and community outreach. The investigation uncovered unauthorized financial transactions and a series of eyebrow-raising decisions that left parishioners questioning the integrity of their leadership. Monsignor Gigantello was found to have authorized a transfer of $1.9 million in parish funds to businesses connected to a former New York mayoral aide. This wasn't just a matter of financial mismanagement. It raised serious questions about conflict of interest and accountability. Parishioners, many of whom had donated generously to their church, were outraged to learn their contributions had been funneled into ventures unrelated to the parish's mission. Adding fuel to the fire, Gigantello allowed a music video with provocative themes to be filmed inside the church. This decision, which some viewed as a clear breach of the sanctity of the space, compounded the backlash. As the scandal unfolded, Monsignor Gigantello was swiftly demoted, and the parish launched an internal audit to trace the misallocated funds. Meanwhile, churchgoers expressed feelings of betrayal. This was our sacred space, and our trust was exploited, one longtime member shared during a community meeting. The financial irregularities also caught the attention of diocesan leaders who have since pledged stricter oversight of parish finances. However, for many, the damage is already done. Attendance at services has reportedly decreased and donations have plummeted as members grapple with the loss of trust. The Brooklyn Parish scandal isn't an isolated case. It's part of a troubling trend of financial mismanagement in religious organizations. Experts point out that many faith communities lack the kind of financial transparency and accountability measures that would prevent such abuses. This scandal serves as a wake-up call not just for Brooklyn, but for churches around the world to reevaluate their stewardship practices. At its core, this story is about trust. Parishioners give not just their money, but their faith to the church, expecting it to be used for noble purposes. When that trust is broken, it damages more than just the organization's finances. It erodes its moral authority. In 2024, one of Canada's most influential megachurches, the Meeting House, became the epicenter of a devastating scandal. Known for its progressive theology and charismatic leadership, the church was rocked by revelations of sexual misconduct involving its former pastors, including Bruxy Cavey and Tim Day. Bruxy Cavey, once celebrated as a pioneer of modern Christian thought, was convicted of sexual assault. Investigations revealed that Cavey and others had exploited their positions of power to groom and abuse vulnerable members of the congregation. More victims came forward, describing a culture where leadership was revered and rarely questioned, allowing predatory behavior to be gone unchecked. Tim Day, another key figure, faced allegations of enabling and covering up misconduct, further tarnishing the church's reputation. As survivors told their stories, it became clear that these weren't isolated incidents, but a systemic failure to protect the congregation. Yet the repercussions were swift and severe. Attendance at the Meeting House plummeted, donations dried up, and the church faced multiple lawsuits for negligence. By August 2024, the church announced it was suspending operations, unable to recover from the financial and reputational damage. The scandal served as a harsh wake-up call for other Canadian churches, sparking demands for transparency, accountability, and independent safeguarding measures. For many, the Meeting House's downfall was a grim reminder of what happens when power is unchecked in faith communities. As 2024 continues, these stories serve as a reminder that true faith must always align with transparency, compassion, and justice. Thank you for watching.